Well, isn't this embarrassing? So, here's my non-recommendation for a streaming service to use. Do not use Restream. That's what we're using. We had our backup stream running, and yet somehow they still dropped us. So tomorrow we will only be streaming to YouTube. We're going to be doing it direct to you. So we won't be doing the multi-stream to Facebook and LinkedIn due to the issues that we're having with Restream. So for those that are just jumping on, thank you for joining us. Come on over. Please send the link. We should be sending out an email to everyone with the updated links. I apologize for all the tech glitches. Again, do not recommend using Restream after this experience. We even worked with them yesterday and today to make sure this doesn't happen. And yet here we are. So, but the good news is we've still got tons of great content for you today. Now it's just going to be a little bit finicky because you have to jump from one stream and then have to watch it on the other stream. So we were just finishing up with Lindsay Taylor with TL365. And so we will go ahead, listen to the last little bit of her segment, and then we'll continuing on with our interviews and everything. Thanks so much, everyone, for your patience.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to
existing clients, asking for those referrals, and then talking about your business, right? At your Pilates class, talk about what you're doing. Oh my gosh, I just planned this amazing trip to Bora Bora. It's going to be incredible. Wow, the Marquesas are whatever. However you want to loop people in. Everybody loves talking about travel. That's the best part about our industry versus, any other industry, which is like, okay, I hate talking about finances. So anytime anybody tries to come at me with some kind of like financial thing, I'm like, you need to stop. I do not like this conversation. Everyone likes talking travel. So I think that that's another really good way, but just be that business person, be that true fiduciary, talk about what you do, what you love, how you love it, and give out those business cards.
Loving that, loving the relationship aspect. So last but definitely not least, if TL365 was a game, what game would it be?
Oh my gosh, that's a hard question. TL365 was a game, what game would it be? I would say, I don't want to, there's negative connotations to some games. So I don't want to be like poker, because then it's like, we're not gambling on anything.
Right.
Maybe like Jenga.
Oh, I like Jenga.
Because we like to build and we like to keep it built. But then it's like, that's the question. It's like you pull those little bricks out and then it's not stable. We're very stable. So I don't want to imply that. But so maybe like Yahtzee, because we take opportunities that are spread out there and then we're able to kind of optimize it with an approach and a strategy that works best. And then we're able to win the game.
Ooh, I like that one too. I haven't played Yahtzee in quite some time.
My favorite. I have a couple drinks. It gets real loud. It's super fun.
I know. I'm like, I'm having fun with this segment because I'm like, ooh, there's some like games I need to start playing back again. So
the gigantic Jenga games at the bars. Those are so fun.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, Lindsay, for sharing a bit about TL365 today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so grateful.
Thank you. And thank you, travel advisors, for tuning in. We will see you at the rest of Host Week. Bye for now.
Lindsay, that was absolutely priceless. I love that your answers were more like a stream of consciousness as we worked through the pros and cons of each game with you in your head. So that was absolutely fantastic. Well, we have another host agency up today, and that is Independent by Flight Center, the host agency division of Flight Center. Now, they are the only host we're doing today that only accepts Canadian advisors. But those lucky 500 Canadian advisors are doing pretty well with over $100 million in cumulative sales. And with that, let's go ahead and see what Independent by Flight Center is up to, shall we?
Hello, everyone. Happy Host Week to you. I hope that you've been having a really wonderful time viewing all of these wonderful host interviews. Please say hello to the wonderful Michael Roque of Independent by Flight Center. Hi, Michael.
Hey, Rita. How are you?
Doing super well. I cannot wait to get into our conversation today.
Likewise, absolutely. Looking forward to, we had a little bit of a pre-convo, but I'm looking forward to getting into the meat and potatoes, as they say.
Yes. Oh, yeah. That makes me hungry. So let's get started. Tell us about a success story about a travel advisor you have and how you help them to grow.
All right. Well, as we know, the pandemic hit the travel industry negatively, massively.
Hmm.
We had an independent advisor who was looking to go on their own, and as fate would have it, it came quicker than they thought.
Hmm.
So that was a situation. They decided to join us, and the way I always like to say things or help advisors is you got to look at your current situation, but in order to be successful, Rita, you need that support to get the results that you're looking for. So
Hmm.
in regards to the support we provided for this advisor, we gave them provided them with individualized coaching sessions to learn about their business and how they want to work with us. And then we basically, it's sort of like a buffet, Rita, where we have all these tools and resources, but not everybody's going to use all the tools and
Right.
resources. So the coaching sessions help us identify key areas of strength and weakness, and then we provide those tools that help bring up their weaknesses, but still multiply their strengths. So in doing so, we were able to help with marketing strategies, helping them develop their business. And through this collaborative effort, their client base grew slowly at first, but then it started growing exponentially.
Hmm.
And then as this advisor's business grew, she couldn't do it all on her own. So then she started bringing on sub agents, and that helped her develop her business even more. But also,
Nice.
when we brought in the sub agents were learning about her business and how it makes what it makes it ticks and makes it successful. So
Hmm.
in doing so, what happened, the results that happened at the end, her business grew exponentially. She grew not just as an agent in learning the business, but she also grew as a business and having sub agents underneath her.
Hmm.
And to paint the success story for this is that she recently attended our Icons event, which recognizes the top advisors in our country as well as globally.
Okay.
So she ranked top 50 globally, and she recently just attended the Uniworld incentive trip where she was on a river cruise from Budapest to Vienna with all our global advisors. It's a true success story, Rita, and it's actually from the ground up. And that's one of the most successful stories I like to share with everybody.
Loving that. Thank you for sharing that one. Let's keep on going. So, what are the top 3 ways that you help to support new advisors?
Well, for new advisors, we have like an 18-month minimum experience that you need to join us. But however, if they wanted to join a main agent as a sub agent and they're new to industry, we'll be happy to definitely forward them to the main agents to help them get started in the industry.
Okay.
I'd say, and you said the 3 ways. So
Yep.
I just want to stick to the program. So I'd say the first way would be with cutting edge technology.
Okay.
We provide amazing technology such as Office 365, a top-notch CRM, our iReach, which is our marketing platform, which they can utilize as well. So these resources help empower advisors with the technology they need to effectively manage their business. The
Hmm.
second criteria I'd say would be tailored training. Going back to what I said about like the buffet where you have all these options,
Yeah.
they're not going to be for everybody. So we don't want to force feed you. That we want to tailor the training to help you as an advisor be successful in your business, whatever that type of business may be for a travel advisor.
Hmm.
And then the third thing would be the collaborative community. The big thing for advisors is when a lot of people worked previously in the industry or didn't work previously in the industry.
Hmm.
And coming from an employee to a business owner, that's a big change.
Right.
So I always like to say that our collaborative community is amazing. Read in the fact that we have people that have done that already, and you can pick their brains and how did you do, how did you start off? How did you market? How did you bring in new business? And that's available to them 24/7. And it's been an amazing opportunity for the community to grow closer together, but also help anybody who's new to the network. And it's
Hmm.
been a successful program.
Loving that, and love collaboration together, and love that we keep talking about food here, talking about having a buffet of
It's
things.
because it's the holidays, Rita. So it's kind of front and center right now.
Right, right. Like, let's keep this is our next entree. What are your top 3 values at Independent by Flight Center, and how do those contribute to your culture?
Um, okay, so I'd say the top three core values for us would be, the first one would be innovation. So we're committed to being future fit. So basically, making sure our advisors have access to or learn about leading edge technology,
Okay.
and how they can apply that to their business. The next thing is, I'd say, is integrity.
Okay.
We uphold the highest standards of integrity and brand trust with Flight Center, especially with the independent brand. Our advisors enjoy the freedom and flexibility of being an independent business owner, but have
Mhm.
the resources to be successful business owner in the travel industry. The third one, I'll rehash the one about the collaboration, but is our community. Those 3 things, Rita, like the community, and being able to have a shoulder to cry on or an ear to
Right.
listen to. And all of our advisors in our network have been either they're seasoned veterans or they've been with us for just a short period of time. That's the number one thing that will come up all on a regular and consistent basis. If you look at our reviews, with host agency reviews, if you look at our reviews for Independent by Flight Center, you'll see that almost every comment is about the community, which is a testament to how we all work great together and support each other.
Right, right. It's always nice to know that even if you're in business by yourself or for yourself, you're not totally by yourself.
Hey, we should make a T-shirt for that one, Rita. That's a good
Right?
one.
The Host Week t-shirt.
We've got some merch now.
Yes. In our annual survey, the number one challenge for advisors is finding clients. So what would you say is your pro tip on that?
For finding clients, I'd say you need it. Absolutely. It's non-negotiable. If you don't have it, you're not going to be successful.
Mhm.
I'd say you have to engage with your local community, join professional groups, attend travel events, and establish connections in your area to start off, and then you can branch out to regional events or country events and international events.
Right.
Online presence, basically making use of social media platforms, travel forums, and other online spaces to connect with potential clients, which we also help with our advisors on. Social media it's a deep pool,
Mhm.
and a lot of people don't understand it. We can help with that. Another thing is valuable content is share your expertise,
Right.
what you're good at, and then also I think word of mouth. We have all this technology, Rita, and social media, but at the end of the day, if someone tells you in person, I had this great experience booking my vacation or trip with this person, you're more
Right.
inclined to just call that person up just because of the word of mouth referral. So I think that's in a short recap. That's the keys to success for growing and securing new business.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you for sharing those too. Now we have gotten to our dessert portion, our fun, exciting question of the interview. If Independent by Flight Center was a game, what game would it be and why?
Ooh, so that's an interesting question. And you can tell from my personality, I like to keep things like lively and fun.
Yeah.
I'd say Independent by Flight Center, if it were a game, would be Super Mario. It's a global brand.
I love that because I just watched the Mario movie.
Yeah, it's a global brand, but it's diverse. You got the Mario Party, you got the Mario Kart game. And then when you join Independent, we like to embrace the entrepreneurial spirit, sort of like Mario.
Mhm.
But everyone's some people are everyone's different, right? Some like to be spotlight in the spotlight. Other people sort of like to blend in with the rest of the crowd. We give you that option. We're not force feeding you to be a particular way of doing it, being a particular person or a way of doing business. And like the game of Super Mario, we provide a wide range of tools and resources to help achieve your goals in your business. And then to cap it off, Rita, I'd say you have to enjoy the journey. And just like Super Mario, we want to give you the tools and resources, but we want to help you have a lot of fun. And that's where the community comes into play again, right? So I hope I answered that question properly. I love Super Mario. I'm an adult, but when my nephews want to come over and they want to play the video games, I'll definitely hop on for that for sure.
Oh yeah, no, I love that answer because it makes me like very nostalgic too. So Michael, thank you so much for being here and sharing so many things about Independent by Flight Center. Really appreciate having you on here today.
Oh, Rita, thank you for the opportunity and the invitation. And I wish you and your family happy holidays and a prosperous 2024, as well as all the viewers for watch a host agency review week. Is happy holidays. And well, they'll see it in February, I think, or something like that. But a prosperous 2024.
Yes, thank you. And thank you, travel advisors, for tuning in. We'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.
What a great answer. How can one not love Mario Brothers? I spent many, probably thousands or tens of thousands of hours playing Mario Brothers growing up. All right. For those of you that are just tuning in, I see we are gaining back some of our numbers. We apologize for the tech difficulty. Obviously, this was unplanned, but we appreciate you spreading the word to others that were over here. And let's see, we're going to keep things moving so we can keep things kind of on schedule. Our next host is located in Connecticut, and apologies to all of the Canadians out there. They only take on U.S. advisors. So the next host is Largay Travel. They opened in 1969. And like some of our other hosts throughout the week, they have more of a boutique feel with about 115 advisors, but they bring the noise when it comes to sales with $110 million in annual sales. So we have got Largay's CEO and president for this interview, which should be a blast with Paul and Amanda, and of course, Rita. So let's see what they have to say.
Hello, Mary here, and we are going strong with our host week interviews with host agencies. I am sitting with Amanda Climax. She is the president and co-owner of Largay Travel. And this interview is extra fun because I get to have two guests. So in addition to Amanda, I'm also sitting with Paul Largay, who is the chief culture curator at Largay Travel. Hello, you two. How are you doing?
We're doing brilliantly, and thank you for this privilege. We're just excited to chat.
Yes. I'm excited, and I'm not jealous. Amanda's in San Juan. I'm not jealous at all. Just, that's I won't let that impact my interviewing. I won't be harder with the questions.
So. Give her all the tough questions.
Yes. Well, let's start with those tough questions for you too. The first question we're asking folks is to tell us a success story about an advisor and how you at Largay have helped them grow.
Well, Mary, it's very difficult to just select one because we've got such a kaleidoscope of people that have joined us from different professions, from the legal field, the banking field, Wall Street. But probably the one that maybe sticks out in particular is we had a professional fundraiser who worked with United Way. And she joined us about 8 years ago. And she came to us with a tremendous network of people and prospects. And what we were able to do was to leverage her Rolodex of networks with our mentoring program, with our subsequent mentoring, with our development of all of her skills, the processes, procedures. And probably within a year and a half, we were able to develop her business to $1 million+ And now, 7 years later, she is now probably one of the absolute rock stars of Largay's business. And I think it's just the wonderful sort of synergistic connection between her Rolodex and our training program and our processes and procedures and our culture.
Yeah, and
Wow.
Mary, I'd love to add, what's really great about our community is 60%, over 60% of our business is from advisors that we've brought into the business and trained up. And what we've been able to do is really evolve our program so we're able to take people from that beginning where they make that decision to join this industry to a full-fledged career as quickly as possible. And usually within a year, year and a half, we're able to get them to where they feel really good about the career they've chosen and about the income they're making.
Yeah, I love that idea of using the mentorship and the tools that you have to help those soft skills from other fields translate into selling travel. And personally, it sounds a lot more fun to sell travel than some of the careers that you mentioned, Paul. So
It's true.
biased, but so adding on to that, the quick turnaround of really growing the businesses of your clients, what are 3 of the top ways that you support your new advisors from when they start with Largay Travel until they make their first bookings?
Yeah. Well, Mary, with our mentoring program, getting someone in and training them over a 6-month period on the things that they need to know about the business is our first key. We have lots that you have to know. Then also introducing them to the different preferred suppliers we have, getting them to know the different providers they're going to use, how to work with them. That's our second key. And then helping them once they start making those bookings to actually have that hand holding that they need for another 6 months is really important. And that's where not only does our team that we have as employees are there to help them through that process, but we also have many longtime advisors that are there as mentors to help the new advisors through that transition and helping them build their business. For people that already have a book of business, it's introducing them and deciding that, helping them to evaluate what they already know so that we know what they already bring to the table. Introducing them to our systems, technology, process, and procedure is step number 2. And then helping them to really get going with their business as quickly as possible. We have pre-recorded videos that they can use. We have a guide that they can dive into at any point that can help using AI to actually allow them to ask questions. How do I issue a gift certificate? How do I invoice a booking? And then once they're going, having a team that's available to them pretty much any time of day to help them, to know what to do and then assist them when they have troubles, because we know travel can be complicated.
Yeah.
And Mary, as the chief culture curator, I sort of operate on the macro side and perpetually whisper in their ear and remind them that this is all about relationships, not transactions. And so long as they keep that front of mind, that everything else will sort of fall into place, because without the relationship, their business is not going to be sustainable, and it's certainly not going to be scalable.
Yeah. Yeah, it's important to think about, you have that Rolodex maybe and building out the supplier side of the Rolodex too, but it's how you nurture those relationships, and it's just nice to have a different strategy for advisors at different points in their career too. So
Yes,
that's excellent.
absolutely.
So next on, we are moving to the values question. What are 3 of your core values at Largay, and how does it contribute to your culture?
Well, I think I probably should buzz in on this one because I've got to earn my keep as the chief.
I wish we had a buzzer.
I know. It's kind of like Jeopardy. I beat her to the punch. But seriously, we've got so many different cultural values, but probably the one that we're most proud of is the fact that you have to be kind. You have to do the right thing. And the thing that I constantly preach is that you have to be a practitioner of the art of joyful commerce. And my mother one night at dinner said to me, "I know you wrote it, son. What the hell's that mean?" And I said, what it means is you should never surrender your humanitarianism or your humor to be successful, because if you do, then you've just become like everyone else. That in order to really make that a granular relationship, it really starts with your culture and your values and how you treat your clients, how you treat your suppliers, and how you relate to the people at headquarters here at Largay. So we believe in doing the right thing, being kind, being practitioner of the art of joyful commerce, and practicing humble confidence. We know that with success, some people grow, others swell. We make sure that people grow; they don't swell at Largay.
Oh, I love that. The art of joyful commerce, did you say?
Yes. Yeah, we have actually a trademark slogan on that.
I love that. I've never heard that before. I'm like jotting it down in my head. I'm going to remember that one.
Yeah. Well, and that applies not only with our advisors, it also applies with our supplier relationships. One thing that we are so proud of is our reputation within the industry, because you can get things done without being mean, without disrespecting people. And I think our supplier partners go that extra mile because they know that we are respectful and we're not going to step on them in order to get what we need. Doesn't mean that we won't fight a good fight, and we'll do it though in a kind way. And, we do understand sometimes when things can't get done, but I would say that 9 times out of 10, we have a greater success rate using honey than we do with anything else.
I like that. Yeah, the true influence, that helps get the results and outcomes that are positive for everybody.
Yes.
And I'd like to believe that we're sort of the poster child that nice guys and girls can finish first. We take what we do very seriously, just not ourselves.
Yes, I love it. I love that. Take what we do seriously, just not ourselves. I'm having warm fuzzies. So our next me too.
We are hiring, by the way.
It might be the pina coladas for me. I'm not sure. I am on a cruise.
Well, so our next question is about some of the challenges that advisors face. And what we found in our 2023 survey is that the number one challenge for advisors is finding clients. And so what is your pro tip for advisors who experience that challenge?
It's funny how people don't often sing their own praises. And we always say, be proud out loud. Talk about what you do, especially on social media and with the press, and really shine a light onto what you do, because you are amazing in how you do it. And, for us, we make sure that as an agency as a whole, we're always talking about the amazing things our advisors do. We've just been most recently in Forbes magazine, as well as Fortune and Entrepreneur magazine, with a full page article, which we are so proud of because it does talk about the things our advisors do. And that does allow people to connect with us. We work a lot with the entrepreneur organization. We're always looking for new business, but we're also looking in the right places, in that we're looking at the types of clients we know our advisors want. And so that luxury experiential type client with our virtuoso relationship, we are always focusing on getting them the right business, because it's not just about getting the people to submit requests. It's about working with and getting those right requests through the door. And we've been really successful with that. And we're super proud of that. And those leads all go to our advisor team.
And Mary, we always tell our new advisors to begin with the end in mind, that if you graduate number 1 on our class, who are you going to sell to? Who are you going to promote your newfound skills to? And we also tell them to realize that they have acres of diamonds in their own backyard. And their network of social, religious, educational, prior professions. There are so many wonderful pearls and nuggets of prospects that exist there. And the wonderful thing is people already know and believe in you in the capacities from which these leads come from, or these prospects come from, that you don't have to sell yourself. All you have to do is promote your newfound skill, because these people already know and believe in you. And when that is already a given, the next part is not easy, but it's considerably easier. And and so that's what we tell people, is that people, some have been very big in their church, very big in their synagogue. They were in the PTA, whatever that background is. My father would say, use it, don't abuse it, but leverage it to your mutual benefit.
Yeah.
And the wonderful thing about travel is often you don't have to sell anyone on what you do. everyone loves to travel, right? It's not like we're dentists or, we have something where you really need to convince someone. There's not a lot of convincing that needs to happen with travel.
I hope there's no dentist watching, Amanda.
No, I won't. I once said that to a client and they happened to be a dentist, and I thought, oh my gosh,
Oh
this
my
is not
God.
good.
Yeah.
Well, if there's a dentist in the audience, you can chime in and
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
We'll have to drill down on that topic. Sorry.
I love that.
Oh
Oh my
no.
God. Well, you two seem to have a lot of fun together, and I love learning more about Largay, and I'm really curious what you're going to answer for a fun question today. So this is your first Host Week interview, and we always do a fun question at the end of our interviews. And this year, that is, if Largay were a game, what game would that be and why?
Oh boy.
Oh,
I'm waiting for Paul on this one.
Can I do a shout out?
Yeah.
I would say probably the game of life, because the game of life is always evolving, and you have to prepare. Forewarned is forearmed. So you have to have process and procedure in place, but you also have to have plan B and plan C. You have to have a triage mentality, because in travel, we can do all the right things and periodically, no fault of our own, get all the wrong results. So that cannot deter you from taking the next step and planning the next itinerary. But like life, we sort of plan our life and God chuckles, but nonetheless, we have to continue to plan it. And I think that's the beauty about our organization, is that we teach you the fundamental skills under normal circumstances about expected outcomes, but we also explain the safety net and the fire escape of life to you as well. And I think what you have to realize, that like many things in life, this is not a life and death proposition. So don't make it that way. There are many things that happen here that I tell people that are like kidney stones. They're painful, but they pass. So if you stay focused on the fact that you are a professional, you are skilled, you have done the right things, periodically you'll get the wrong results, but you have the resources and the network within your community and with your preferred supplier. So you don't have a magic wand. You can't prevent the inevitable from happening, but what you can do is mitigate the outcome. And that's what life is all about. It's about trying to do your best. And when your best doesn't quite seem to be good enough, how to figure out how do you make it a little bit better the next time, and leverage your learning curve. And you know what? Damn it, have fun. We're in a business of helping people identify and live out their dreams. I get up on a Monday morning. I'm not excited that the weekend is gone, but when I wake up and I realize that my job that day is to help someone live out their dreams, and I get paid for it, I'm amazed. And so this game of life is the game of business. It's the game of joy. It's the game of community. And you can't lose sight of the fact that we are better together than we are individually.
Well, and Mary and Paul, I hate to give you credit, but I really like this analogy, because part of the way we've actually built out our system is so that our advisors can have a life. So our client relations department, when our advisors are traveling, is there to assist their clients and help them so that our advisors can actually engage in the travel that they're doing. We have a 24-hour air department who's there in the middle of the night to help the clients and help the advisors should there be an air issue, because we know that never happens. And, it's one of those things where we know that you do want to have a life and you do want to live and enjoy this industry, instead of having this crazy rat race where you're just working 24/7. And so every department that we've built out is made to help our advisors be able to not only do business quickly and efficiently and use the best suppliers, but to also make sure that they can take time away and enjoy their travels and, be able to offer quality service, whether they're there to answer the phone or not. And that's a big part of it.
Yeah, that balance makes big leaps towards cultivating the joyfulness and, yeah, just that environment of support. I love it. That's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I've had so much fun chatting with you both that I forgot to be jealous that Amanda's recording from San Juan. I'll mark that success. And what we'll do is we'll put the link to Largay's profile in our comments so people can go check out and start a conversation with y'all if they have any questions. Thank you so much for chatting with us today, and happy Host Week.
Well, thank you for the privilege of this conversation. Have a great new year.
Thank you, Mary. This has been great. See you soon, and I'm going to get back to vacation.
Cheers.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you for calling, Amanda.
And thank you for the business. Chat soon.
Wow, that was amazing. Thank you so much, Paul and Amanda. That was just filled with so many one-liners. I can't believe it. I really enjoyed that. And the art of joyful commerce was amazing. So today's hosts were only a small slice of the hosts that we are featuring this week. Tomorrow will be all Virtuoso hosts, and Virtuoso is the consortium that we're interviewing tomorrow. Although it is worth noting that there have been other hosts today, or well, like Largay today and other days throughout the week. So tomorrow's coffee spot is the host agency Uniglobe Travel Center. So if you haven't registered yet for that, make sure to. It starts at 11 a.m. Central Time, and you may snag one of the free coffee gift cards. So welcome back to those of you that we lost during our last stream. We're so happy that you found us and are back. First up on our learning agenda today is Stephanie Cannon, who you may remember from last year. We are going to link to her presentation from last year because she has great financial tips for all of you. And although travel is super fun, finances is still something you need to do with your agency. And we also have some resources here at HAR for you on tax prep that will drop into the comments. So we have things about estimated taxes. And if you don't know what those are, you should definitely read up on that. We have an article on items that a travel advisor can and can't write off on their taxes. And we have a free tax prep organizer for your agency. So lots of good stuff. Now, let me introduce our next speaker. So Stephanie Cannon is the founder of SC Travel Design and a 17-year veteran of the travel industry who jumped in feet first after leaving her corporate career many years ago. In addition to assisting her travel clients, Stephanie is a licensed CPA, former small business accountant, and a former corporate budget analyst. Steph, welcome.
Hello. Now I'm muted now, right? You can hear me?
You are so great.
Awesome.
Don't worry. This is the smallest of our technical glitches.
I know. I've heard, and I've actually been witnessing it here over on my side
Did you
screen.
see the meltdown or no? Did we compose
No, but I was like,
well
wait,
enough?
where'd they go? Like everything just died, no chat. So, okay, what's happening here?
Yeah. We think we've got it fixed. We're cutting out. I'm just going to put in another bad plug for Restream. If you're ever doing an event, they are not helpful on their support and don't do their backup streams. So anyhow, Stephanie, I am so excited to learn this. I know finances isn't the most exciting things for people, but this is what makes your business so it's either open or not going to be open for much longer. So it's incredibly important. I'll turn it over to you.
All right. Well, thank you. So hopefully, okay, good. You can see my slides. I'm kind of following along. So if you see me looking off to the side, it's because I have another screen here trying to keep up maybe a little bit with the chat and a few notes to make sure I don't miss anything. Okay, as you can see, we're talking about from manual to magic. And this is all about tech for the financial piece of your travel business, because who wants to do things manually anymore? We have so much amazing technology at our fingertips. We just kind of need to know what it is, right? Hold on. Okay. Things are just moving. So these are the three things we're going to cover. I know we don't have a lot of time. If you have questions, you can go ahead and put them in the chat. I'll try to look over and see, but if I don't get to them, I'll follow back through when I'm done here and see if I can help answer some of those. So first, we're going to talk about like the digital shift, right? Why does it matter? Some tools of the trade, and then like, how do you know what tools might be a good fit for you? So a little bit about me. Steph already did a great introduction, so I'm not going to go through all of this. But as you can see, I've been in the travel industry since 2006. Okay. So kind of like I won't say an oldie, but maybe like a middle of the road. And I started my whole career out of college as an accountant, CPA, small business, tax accountant, all the fun stuff. So apparently I love numbers if that's where I went. And that's what I'm here to help you better understand. Totally a numbers and data geek. So the data I like is numbers, nothing else. Like just show me the numbers. And literally I live my life by the numbers. If anybody knows me, you know numbers are my thing. I see certain patterns in numbers here and there. And of course, I love travel. And then I had to put a little picture of my dog, since everybody's dog lovers, or I would like to think that we have a lot of dog lovers here. So there's my little dog. She's not in the room with me, but she's still here running around the house somewhere. So just some really quick disclaimers. I'm not here as your CPA or your financial advisor, any of the stuff. This is not specific advice on like, oh, you should use this software or this app or this platform over this. Really, I'm just here to educate you as to what some of those items are. And then you can take your time and go through and see if there's one, that might fit best for your business. So before we get started, let's talk about the troubles with traditional techniques. And if anybody is here to share the journey from manual to magic, it's definitely me, because when I started my career, we didn't have all these programs. Literally was doing tax returns on the paper tax forms, doing bookkeeping in the manual ledger books and sheets where you actually write the stuff down, adding machine tape, all the stuff. It was not fun. Nobody wanted to do it. And it looked literally like the piles of paper you see here. But this is some of the difficulties with traditional, the spreadsheets can be confusing. Not everybody loves spreadsheets. Not everybody knows how to set them up so that they actually work for you. And they're really easy, to just go ahead and input some things versus I wonder if my formula is wrong, or did I type the right number in there? Staying manual, you can have piles of invoices and receipts and documents that you have no clue what to do with. Do I keep them? Do I not keep them? Maybe I'll just crumble it up and throw it away. All those things are probably going through your mind. And then the crunch time, right? So doing things manually, we tend to not keep up with it as we go through the year. And it seems like a whole year in a weekend, ready to pull your hair out, frustration. And then with that, maybe comes potential compliance or tax issues that you may not be aware of. And you're just like, oh, I just need to get this to my tax preparer so that I can get that person off my back, he or she, whoever it is, and move on with, doing what I need to do for my business that's not financial related. And it can become tedious, time consuming. And one of the biggest drawbacks really to me is the lack of real time, because it's actually waiting for you to go do something that takes, some time out of your day that you may not have, and it gets put off on the back burner for a while. And on average, when we talk about manual, if you're literally typing numbers into a spreadsheet or adding them up on a calculator or the old school adding machine, there's an error rate, right? You can type a number incorrectly, have a decimal point in the wrong place. We're missing some things, all of that. So don't recommend manual. So we're going to talk about how to go digitally. But before we do that, let's talk about the mindset shift that really needs to happen, because, we're in an era where we have a lot of stuff going on and things are moving faster than they have before. And we really need to adopt better practices and workflows or procedures in each one of our travel industry or travel businesses, no matter whether you're individual or, you have a team, a small team, large team, whatever it is. So most likely the larger agencies already have some form of digitized systems in place, maybe fully or partially. It's more the individual advisor or small teams that kind of struggle with this. And we all know adopting new technology does come with a set of challenges. There's a learning curve. And yes, initially it might feel like extra work or more work and frustrating to get onboarded. But once you get past that, the reward is better than the pain of having all that happen. And so think of like with the CRM, right? And when I first started, like we didn't have these types of CRMs. I was literally doing my invoices to clients in Excel spreadsheets, emailing them, putting each individual payment in there. Now we have these amazing, robust CRM systems where we can get authorizations, we can send invoices to our clients, even contracts for them to sign, and it's all digital. So yes, setting that up and learning how to use that system came with the challenges and that learning curve, but in the end, it's so much better because of what it gives us. So think of learning as an investment. It may not have to be an investment of money always. It could be an investment of your time. You're spending your time now to reap the rewards once things are up and running smoothly. So as you're easing into this progress, it doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to do everything all at once. You're going to build in stages, right? Start with one piece, get that running smoothly, and then move on to the next. And definitely celebrate your small wins as you go through this. Like give yourself that pat on the back. Many of us work from home like I do. I don't have somebody here cheering me on in my office. I do maybe have some, colleagues virtually, but we all need to cheer ourselves on. So you are your biggest cheerleader, maybe your spouse or significant other, maybe even your dog could be your cheerleader. And then seek out support, right? There's always somebody who has already done this or who has a better process than you might be able to come up with that can help you through most of this. So before we get into the power of going digital, I do want to talk about what I call like my 3 non-negotiables. And I didn't put them on the slide, but you probably already know what they are, especially if you tuned into Steph and Mark Casto yesterday, talking about beginning with the end in mind. And I was listening to that and I'm like, but wait a minute, what about the in-between, right? We're talking about the end game, but what do we do in between? And he talked about, in the end and how to be prepared for that. But what are you doing during? And there's lots of reasons that you want to have all of this information ready to go at your fingertips, like buttoned up, balanced, all the things that he talked about, because it may not be for potentially selling your business. It could be you're applying for a mortgage, right? A personal mortgage. But if this is your source of income, they're going to want to see financial statements. They're going to ask for them specifically. And I'm going to say probably like at least 95% of the time, your Excel spreadsheet isn't going to cut it. So think about that as we're talking about the power of digital here. And so the 3 non-negotiables are, number 1, business is business, personal is personal, no commingling of your money. And I get that the lines get blurred between us and our business. And we're like, well, I'll just pay for this, on my business card or out of my business checking account. That really creates havoc on you and it hinders your ability to efficiently use the digital tools that are available. So keep that in mind. And then the 1 year, like once a year update, like let's stop that now. Shift to monthly at a minimum. Some of you may need daily or even weekly. So maybe adopt a Money Monday or a Finance Friday. And if you've been over to the Host Week promos, I have a free financial checklist in there. So that really breaks down what that might look like for, a typical travel business. And then first and foremost, like keep this in the front of your mind. This is probably one of the mindset shifts as well, is the primary reason you're tracking your numbers is for you as the business owner. It's for you to get the financial data so that you can make informed decisions on, a day-to-day, month-to-month basis not making financial decisions one time of year. And you want to be able to use that data-driven information. It's not to file your taxes. Yes, we have to do it, but that's really secondary, because if the sole reason that you feel that you're putting together or tracking your numbers is so you can file taxes, I wouldn't want to do it either. So when you go digital, these are some of the benefits that you'll gain. We talked about the troubles, maybe the challenges of doing manual. Well, this is kind of the opposite. So I'll go through these really quickly, but having that accuracy and consistency, it helps you keep on top of things on a consistent basis, like every single month, and know that the numbers that are coming in there are the correct numbers. Efficiency and time savings, to me, this is huge. Like, nobody wants to spend hours and hours typing in numbers into a spreadsheet or even copying and pasting them. That's no fun. Scalable, if maybe you're starting out and you're like not sure what you need, but finding a solution or a software app system, whatever it is that can grow with your business, will save you time in the long run. And then, of course, these last two, if you look at the stat, it can reduce the time spent by up to 50%. So that's freeing up your time, right? And then having that real-time financial health, the financial statements that Steph and Mark talked about yesterday, in addition to other things to help you analyze what's going on, literally at your fingertips, real time, and not waiting for your tax person to say, okay, well, here's your tax return for the year, and this was your profit, and this is how much you owe, kind of a thing. You want to know that before you actually get there. So let's talk about some of the tools of the trade. This is my fun part. Right? So we do have spreadsheets, and more designed for basic tracking, calculations, those types of things. We're all very familiar with spreadsheets such as Google Sheets, Microsoft Excel, Numbers. Probably the first two are the most commonly used, and they do serve a purpose. So we're not throwing the spreadsheets out. They still help us speed up things, especially when you have a template created with calculations already built in, and it does all the fancy stuff for you, and it's basically just getting your information in there so that you can have the equivalent reports that you might get from a full bookkeeping software. So then we move to the bookkeeping software, right? So this is your full system that really ensures that you have the most accurate picture of your financials. Everything's in balance. I heard Mark talk about that yesterday, balance the books. Well, this software, I'm not going to say they're foolproof, because I've seen books that aren't really balanced, but they're in there. So they are more of a help, though, to identify where the issues might be so that you can get them corrected. And things like QuickBooks. And it could be QuickBooks Desktop, QuickBooks Online. If you're not currently using that product, then online is probably the more preferred one with the direction that that company is going. There's Wave, Xero, FreshBooks, Zoho Books. So there's quite a few out there that you could kind of do a little analysis on and see where do you fit best for where your business is and where it's going. And then we have apps. So there's kind of an overlap, but there's also a difference between apps and software. And so QuickBooks has an app, Wave has an app, and then there's these other ones that are mostly used for receipt tracking, like expenses and receipts. You go out to a lunch, they give you a receipt, you don't want to throw it away, you want to snap a picture, file it away in your receipt organization system, and any one of these will work, including if you want to file something on Google Drive or Dropbox, just to keep it all neat and tidy. So here's a summary of those, and you can grab a snapshot, or you can come back and watch the replay if you want to go through and like, what were those again? There's probably some other ones, but to me, these are the most common tools of the trade. So now, well, how do you know which one or which combination should I use? And just like with anything else, we're going to do an assessment. Ask yourself some questions. And I probably should have put this in here, but I didn't. I don't know. It's just so natural for me to do this. So what are you currently doing? Like, what does your current process look like? What's working and what isn't? So that's one of the big things that you need to be able to answer. And then think about your current and future needs, right? What's your budget? How much could you spend on technology or tools to implement? And maybe if you had to be trained on that, or if you needed some sort of onboarding or setup, like what kind of budget do you have? And then consider ease of use, the time to learn, implement, integrate. All of those things are factors to consider, because just because something's cheap, you don't want to pick it and then find out that it takes you forever to learn how to use it and you can't figure it out and all of those fun things. Then it may not be the best return on investment. And then here are some key questions when you're actually looking or diving into the various technology that's available. Like, what features does it have? Is it going to be able to give you what you need? Can it scale with your business long term? So can you use it now, if you're just starting out or only a couple of years in? And will it still be available or a good option for you 5-10 years down the road? What benefits? How is it going to help you grow your profit and make better decisions in your business? Does it support compliance? So compliance is tax and regulatory requirements. They can be federal level, state level, even a local level. And does it also support your data-based decision-making? Are you able to get the information out of there so that you can really understand what's going on and make financial decisions in your business day to day, week to week, month to month, not one time a year? So also, could somebody else take it over for you if needed? Like, you hire a VA, or maybe you bring on a bookkeeper or hire a bookkeeping service to help you with this over time. And then, to me, the biggest one, like, nobody wants to spend time gathering all this stuff for tax time, which is basically right now. So will it simplify that for you? And you may have some other questions that you want to add on to consider for yourself. So just, my expert tips: understand your current picture. Like, where are you and what are you not getting, or what don't you understand? Like, all of those things can come into play here. And if you're not sure, because there are a variety of options, there are different combinations that can go together, ask questions, ask for recommendations. You have a lot of colleagues here in the travel industry itself. Maybe you already work with an accountant or tax person, just ask. I will put a caveat on there. The accountant and tax people can sometimes be a little bit slanted to make their job easier. But really, if you're the one who's working in this day in and day out, like, it really needs to work for you and your business, and they can adapt. And if they offer a free trial or demo, do it. See what's happening. I mean, we see these all the time with our CRMs. Why wouldn't you also do it with your financial information? So here's a little recap. Tools of trade. These are the logos. So you can see, if you happen to see them when you're doing a Google search, they might look a little more familiar. There's a new one on here that I'm just now testing. It's the purple one at the bottom with the little lightning bolt. It's called Spark Receipt. So jury's still out on that one, but I'll have a review on it coming up sometime soon after I'm able to test it for a month or two, along with in comparison to something like Expensify, or even just using a good old Google Drive. So I love this quote: for every minute spent organizing, an hour is earned, right? So if you can keep up with this and keep things organized every single month, then you've bought time back for yourself. And there's a QR code here. So this will lead you to the free financial checklist that I talked about. So if you want to go ahead and scan that, you can see the little pictures. That's what it actually looks like. It's nothing major. It literally is a checklist, and you can take the information that's in there and customize it for your own business, create your own SOP or standing operating procedure, and make this part of your workflow, because the technology works best when you know what you're doing already. So you know what needs to be done, and we find the technology or the solution, the app, whatever it is, to bolt on to our process that we need to do. And I think that's it for me. I put the QR code here. So if you haven't already followed me, I have. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, Stephanie. Thanks so much
No,
for
you're
joining
fine.
us. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here. This was so much fun.
Yes, and there are some questions for you in the comments if you get a chance to answer them afterwards. And make sure to follow Stephanie. She gives lots of great financial advice specific for travel agencies. So thanks again for coming on, Stephanie.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. So next up, we're going to try to keep things on schedule the best we can. We have our next presenter is Patrick, and he is a former NASCAR pit crew member who is now a public speaker. After years of building fast cars and changing tires on fast pit stops, his career shifted to radio broadcasting. On-air show hosting created public speaking opportunities and concert event management work, where he now delivers live event MC services and educational and uplifting talks. Patrick, welcome to Host Week. We are so glad you're here.
Hi, Steph. I'm thrilled to be here. Thanks for having me.
Oh, I'm so excited. Your story is so compelling. I love it.
Yeah, we're going to get into that a little bit in my talk and show how it ties into the travel industry and what I can do for you.
Perfect. Well, I will turn it over to you from here. Thanks so much, Patrick.
Great. Thanks so much, Steph. And thank you for having me on here. Welcome to all of you here at Host Week. This is my first time visiting Host Week. It's thrilled to be here. As Steph said, I'm Patrick Reynolds. I am a public speaker, a corporate and concert MC, and a radio show host. I'm actually using one of the studios here at WSIC News Talk in Statesville, North Carolina, which is a suburb of Charlotte. As she said, I'm a former NASCAR pit crew member in the 2008 recession. Altered all of that as money and dollars shifted in and out. That's what pays crew members' salaries. Long story short, I got an opportunity to come here as a radio show host. That opened up some doors to MC local concerts, and then that led to public speaking. So if you take the auto racing out of it, I'm still doing all the rest of it, hosting a radio talk show, emceeing concerts and festivals, and public speaking. What I want to through all this is hopefully open up some sales and revenue opportunities to travel agents and those in the industry. So hopefully make you guys some money by giving you like a new sales lead style of funnel. I'm going to tie all this together. Bear with me. It'll all make sense in a little bit. A little background of the NASCAR industry and an overview of the company is that there's literally thousands of grassroots racers across the United States that fall under the NASCAR sanction. They've got a very weekly grassroots series. They've got regional series, and they've got some national series. We're going to spend a lot of time here talking about the 3 national series that NASCAR has and how they relate to you. Their premier series is called the Cup Series, and that name is derived from the old Winston Cup Grand National Days. You might remember the legends of Richard Petty and Cale Yarborough, Bobby Allison. These are the guys that kind of were the groundbreakers of that series. That is now called the Cup Series. That's the premier series. The next level down is called the Xfinity Series, sponsored by the Xfinity Corporation. And the third tier down of the National Series is the Trucks. And this is all relating to you guys. They're all United States based, but they're very close to where I am right here. I'm located just north of Charlotte, North Carolina. Charlotte to NASCAR is kind of like Nashville to country music. It just makes sense on the Eastern Seaboard. Most of the shops are located here. Now, the industry in the sport is set up a little bit differently. You don't have like a stick and ball setup where franchises are all across the country and each game has 1 and 2 or 2 teams playing each other all across the country. Here we have 30 to 40 teams and they all converge on the same city at the same weekend at the same time, and they all race each other. So you've got 30 to 40 teams per series that are traveling the nation. Let's talk about people that need to be moved around. The Cup Series, the Premier Series in NASCAR, is on the racetrack. Out of 52 weekends a year, they're at a speedway 38 weekends per year. It is a grueling grind of a schedule, possibly the longest schedule in professional sports. So they move for each Cup Series, which will be running in the Daytona, 20, 21 people per 13 to 14 people, as well as a significant number of people that were moving around each weekend for the NASCAR National Series. Now, people fly a lot of different ways. They'll fly commercial. They'll fly some charter aircraft. Depending on the budget of the race team may own its own airplane. Depends on how much money you have. But we're going to fly all these people into the racetrack. From the race, or excuse me, we're going to fly them to the airport. From the airport, what are we going to do? We're going to get cars and vans, rentals that the teams need to travel to where next? The hotel. From the hotel, they'll use those vehicles to go back and forth to the racetrack for each day, because you're there Thursday through Sunday, a lot of weekends there. And then you're going to fly home after your race for the weekend is done. This does not include the equipment. The equipment on 18-wheeler haulers, usually 2 cars per each team. 2 cars, you've got a spare car, you've got spare engines, transmissions, rear end, the pit crew equipment, the fireproof uniforms, all that is in a hauler. So really we're focusing right now a little bit just on the people and the travel part of this. When I was younger, and one of my first jobs in NASCAR, when I first got on one of the teams, one of my coworkers, a colleague, said to me, and I'll quote him, "Where you stay and how you travel means a whole lot to morale." And a race team is like any other workplace where attitude affects performance. So you can see, if you're a race fan, turn on the TV, the faster cars usually have groups of people that are gelling, in good moods, have good morale, and they're working together like a team as opposed to a group of individuals. So we're moving all these people around. We're flying them, we're renting them cars, we're getting them hotel rooms, and there can be a very big monkey wrench when we getting thrown into the travel program here, and it is called rain. Yes, NASCAR super speedways have slick tires, 200 miles per hour. They don't do it well in the rain. They don't do it in the rain. And we have had some horrendous weather over the years. When you're at a racetrack, 3 or 4 days outside, it's an outdoor event. You're moving around the country. Odds are weather is going to be a factor at some points of it. I remember when I was on a race team and we ran a race in Michigan scheduled for Sunday. We finally ran it on Tuesday because it wouldn't stop raining. A few years ago in Fort Worth, Texas, NASCAR Cup Series ran a race on a Wednesday because it rained from Sunday, pushed the race to Wednesday. The 2012 Daytona 500 is very memorable as it rained on Sunday, was postponed to Monday about noon. It finally got the green flag about 7 p.m. Monday night. They had a bad crash in the middle of it. Red flag stopped the race. Eventually, they restarted it, but a checkered flag in the early Tuesday morning hours. This is a rolling process where travel plans are done on the fly, by the hour, every 30 minutes. They can be changing for these race teams on that. So it's not a plan set. It's very fluid, and you got to keep up with it. There's people, we're going to get to those people in just a minute. Another example, just down this past weekend at the Daytona Speedway, they ran the 24 Hours of Daytona, sanctioned by IMSA, the International Motorsports Association. Give you some numbers for travel down here. The race had 59 entries for a 24-hour car race. There's multiple drivers per car. I took my own little count of them. In the 59 entries, I totaled up 227 drivers took place in the 24 Hours of Daytona. Now, unlike just the NASCAR sanctioned series, this was a global race. There were race car drivers from all over the planet that came and traveled to Daytona to run this race. But not just the drivers. The team support, as we talked about, these personnel and pit crew on the NASCAR world, the NASCAR count is similar to these guys. You got personnel, pit crew, engineers, mechanics, electricians, over-the-wall pit crew guys, and they're traveling globally. Now, the IMSA Sports Car Series actually builds in a big gap in their schedule in June for the 24 Hours of Le Mans. Now, that's not part of their schedule, but those type of cars and those competitors can compete at June at Le Mans. If anyone's seen the recent movie Ford versus Ferrari with Christian Bale and Matt Damon, it dealt a lot with the 24 Hours of Le Mans. It's a big deal. So you've got NASCAR moving people around the country. IMSA largely moving people around the country. Also big in the United States is the IndyCar Series. NHRA drag racing, largely ground transportation, but the other groups, they're flying, they're renting cars, they're getting hotel. If you want to think about Formula One, that's a global series. They're moving personnel around and also moving their cars around in shipping containers. Forget the 18-wheelers that I talked about before. When they bounce around Europe, sure, but when they go to Japan, when they go to China, when they go to Australia, they actually move cars and pit equipment and engines and gearboxes around in large shipping containers. Now, I touched on my career a little bit earlier from the auto racing world. I went into radio, to concert MC world, to corporate talking. Now I'm no longer involved in hands-on with NASCAR or auto racing, but I'm deeply involved in the music industry here around Charlotte, North Carolina. Guess what I discovered? It's largely similar to professional auto racing. We've got our global acts, our national acts, regional acts, and local acts. We've got musicians in bands from very small local all the way to global entertainers. We here in near Charlotte, North Carolina, we've got some bands that just tour around the southeast, depends on how big you are. But we've also had some big names come from Los Angeles, from New York City, from Nashville, from the big places where a lot of music is heard, a lot of music is produced. We have a good relationship with one of the companies I work with now out of Las Vegas. He is a Tim McGraw tribute artist. And a couple of summers ago, he and I were talking before his concert in the afternoon before that evening, before it kicked off. He said to me, and this is an opportunity that we're going to lead into the travel industry and where you guys may be able to get some sales and revenue. He told me, quote, "I'm not a musician. I'm a travel agent." Yes, that's what he said. He spends most of his time acting like a travel agent. He sings, he performs, he's a Tim McGraw tribute guy, but he says, I am a travel agent. His bandmates and musicians and other singers all have their own schedules. Did you know that all these musicians play with multiple bands? So sometimes they're flying in and out. They're not on tour together all the time. They're flying in, they're flying out, they're going to another show, on their own independently. He's got to coordinate all this on top of doing his act. Auto racing world, I've seen can carry over into other types of sports. The attitude and the travel is similar to it. Maybe not even the professional area, but also into the farm teams or the feeder series teams. There's feeder series, the ladder system in auto racing. There is that in the farm teams. Here in Charlotte, North Carolina, we've got a professional NFL team and a professional NBA team, but we also have farm teams for hockey and minor league baseball teams. Their travel, but it's much more regional as opposed to the national NBA and NFLs. So travel, or the motor racing world, similar to all sports and all music, they all have this thing that struck me as common, which resonated me with this host week here. In car racing, you have guys with specific responsibilities. You've got guys that focus on the engine. You get guys that focus on just bodies and aerodynamics. You've got engineers with laptops. You have suspension specialists. You've got tire specialists that just deal with the tires. In the music industry, in a band, people have specific responsibilities. You got a drummer that does not play keyboard. You got a keyboard artist that does not play bass guitar. You got a bass guitar player that does not sing and a singer that probably can't play any instruments. You don't know. Each one has their own specific job with the band. But there is a subculture in sports, in auto racing, in music. Someone in that organization is what? They are a travel agent. Somebody is wearing multiple hats. They're playing the drums. They're changing tires on a pit crew. They're doing something, but they're also a travel agent. We're moving around race teams. We're moving around equipment. We're moving around bands. We're moving around, musical instruments. And somebody there is doing travel agent work in sports and music. So if you drill down for the people, the personnel, the equipment, here's the lesson that I'm trying to get to all of you guys. I told this story to make this point. There is someone within each organization that wear a lot of hats. One of those hats is the hat of a travel agent. And here's a tip for all you guys. They do not want to do it. They would love somebody to come in and take this off their plate. Let somebody else do this for me. So wherever you are in the country, whether you're watching globally or here in the United States, there are sales and revenue opportunities out there for you. It'll take some tenacity because I know sales is tough. You got to drill down, but there's someone out there that does not want to do it. Someone on the race team staff, there's a band member that's handling this for everybody. Somebody out there, somebody on Host Week, somebody on this call needs to help them. Please, there's calls to be made, but there's money in revenue to be made here in auto racing, in stick and ball sports, in local bands, probably not the marquee people that you hear on the radio. You're not going to call up the New York Yankees. They don't need help traveling. You're not going to call up Taylor Swift. She doesn't need help traveling. She's got it covered. But come down a little bit, just back off a little bit and get into the music industry, the auto racing world. I, from experience, have talked to people. I know people that are doing travel agency work and 100% across the board. They don't want to do it. They wish someone else would come there and do it. I can help you do that. I don't have a list of folks, like lists of customers for you, but I'd be happy to network and chit chat with anybody here. I'll do my best to answer some questions in the chat, as well as maybe put my contact information in there as well, with my website and my email as well. PRMC, that's PREMCEE. Funny way to spell MC, but that's it. PRMC.com. But please email me or reach out to me, and I'll do my best to do some networking, help you guys make some revenue and some sales.
Thanks so much, Patrick. That's, it's so interesting that you talk about that, because there are travel advisors that do so well in these niches.
Yeah.
For those of you tuning in, we do have a couple podcast episodes on. One of them is Molly Williams, and I think she's episode or volume number 21 on Travel Agent Chatter, but she moves bands around all across the world and all across the country.
Mm-hmm.
And it leans more towards the corporate side of things, but if it's something you're really passionate about, and if it's something like Patrick, you're perfect because you know the inner workings of how the pit crews need things to work. So if there's a passion that you have, whether it be NASCAR or, the Major League Baseball or minor league baseball or formula racing, whatever it is, get into that network and see who the people are, because these types of like entertainment travel is oftentimes what it gets put into as a bucket, is incredibly lucrative and very, very fast paced.
Mm-hmm. I agree. If you can find the niche in the right, and you got to drill down, it's not going to be handed to you. You got to drill down to find it, but they are out there. And I've been hearing on previous talks here on Host Week, because I tuned in a little bit, new clients was a common topic and a common question is, how do people get new clients? Mm-hmm. In these sports and music industry, there are new clients out there ready to be taken, but you got to find them and make the first move. And I think, gosh, the people on this call and on Host Week, man, you're looking for some revenue. I think it's there. You do have to do some work to go find it.
Yeah, it's kind of, you have to know who's who and how to find them, because when you find them, they likely do not like their job if their title is not travel advisor. This is something they're doing on the side.
Yeah.
And they want it off their plate. And if they can make that happen, plus get commissions, get commissions from it, it's say if they bring you in-house or if you're an independent contractor for them, it's going to make their day. So Patrick, we have someone asking you to repeat your email. Would you mind?
I would not mind at all. If I can get to the chat, let me see if I'll type it right in there if I can.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. So let me see that. There we go. There we go. I am typing right now. I did barely pass my typing class in high school. There it is. info@prmc.com. I'm an MC for a lot, so I use that for a website, but the word MC has a lot of silent E's in it when you spell it out loud. Letter M, letter C, but it's, EM. prmc.com, prmc.com. But yeah, drop me an email. I'd be happy to network with anybody here if I can help them.
Really appreciate it, Patrick. I don't think we have any more. Well, actually, we have a question from Juan because this is our producer on the back end.
Okay.
And he wants to know what you think about the shocking news on Formula One today. Lewis Hamilton, 7-time champion, is going to Ferrari.
I was shocked by it, but at first I was shocked by it. But then I took a few steps back, and we were all shocked when Lewis went to Mercedes to begin with. But the performance of the Mercedes has been lagging behind the Red Bull. Lewis has a keen eye for the upswings and downswings of motorsports. He's going to catch Ferrari on the upswing and help them overtake Red Bull and Max Verstappen. I think it's a brilliant move on Lewis's part. He's probably going to end his career at Ferrari, and he's going to end his career as a race winner and world champion, which he will not at Mercedes at this point. So I think it's a shocking yet brilliant move on Lewis's part.
I love that. I totally got your radio broadcasting voice in there. That was great.
I'm actually on the air in like 14 minutes with a talk show here.
Well, excellent. We will let you go. Thank you so much for joining us and talking about these opportunities. We really appreciate it, Patrick.
Thank you, Steph. It was an honor to be here. Appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Ciao.
Bye-bye.
Well, I am learning so much this week, aren't all of you? If you are enjoying the events and soaking up all this information, lots and lots of information, make sure to check out HAR's event calendar if you haven't already, because this is by far the most comprehensive event calendar for the travel industry. And it has everything from FAMs, which are like familiarization trips, if you're not familiar with that term, to webinars, to industry conferences. So you'll find lots of great things on there. And next up, we have an exciting EDUSPOT, and this one is an oldie but a goodie on newsletters. And here's a little tip before we move in there. If you are just starting out, even if you don't have a newsletter yet, a great piece of advice is to add a newsletter sign up to your website right away. So that way, when you are ready to do the newsletter, you have a nice batch of names before you even get started. So here's a little bit more about today's presenter. Mimi Lichtenstein is an award-winning travel advisor and Condé Nast travel specialist. Her curiosity, passion, business experience, and certified coaching expertise are foundational to her success. She's also the host of Adventures in Luxury Travel podcast and newsletter, and has sent out a weekly email to her clients for 155 weeks in a row. Wow. Welcome, Mimi. All right. We don't have Mimi in here quite yet. So, oh, there you are, Mimi. How are you?
Oh, hi, Steph. I'm good. How are you?
Good. That's an amazing 155 weeks in a row. And I'm excited to hear your experience with this and how it's working for you. So I'll pass it over to you now.
Okay. Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here. So I'm talking all about newsletters today. The reality is I started my company in August of 2019. About 6.5 months later, the world shut down for all of us. Everybody stopped traveling. Everything came to a standstill. This little film strip is a picture of me wondering what I'm going to do with my life. And so thinking about what the different options were at the time, right? We could sort of sit back and just watch the world develop, having no idea what was going to happen, or think about some creative things that we could do instead. And so since no one was traveling, I had lots of time on my hands, and I came up with a few different ideas. I hosted some online cooking classes with partners from around the world.
Hey, Mimi, I'm just going to jump in really quickly because we need you to share your slides so that we can see them on screen.
Well, that's interesting because I thought that had been done before I even came on.
It does in the other room, but not in this room. You have to reshare them. So
I have to reshare them. Okay,
yep.
Let me do that. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that wouldn't have been super easy for everyone to see. All right, let's do it again. So present. Yes, enter full screen. Is that working?
Let's see. I actually don't hold any power here. No, it is not working. Juan holds all the power.
Juan has the power. Okay.
Yes,
Juan.
but you need to share like you did in the other room. And I'll let you work on that. You got it?
Yeah. Yep. Okay. I was thinking I need to reshare. Okay.
There we go.
Are we good?
Yeah.
Okay. Good troubleshooting. Okay. hey, that's what we have to do in this industry, right? Anyway, so rather than dwelling on life as it was, started a podcast, held cooking classes with partners from around the world. And then I started to write a newsletter. At first, it felt hard. So that's what this little guy is over here, right? Sitting down to think about, what am I going to write? What kind of platform am I going to use? Who's going to want to read it? Thinking about all the different things, all the different reasons why I didn't need to write this newsletter, but I wanted to. I look back to see what I said in that first newsletter, which was September of 20. And I said, I might not be able to physically take you somewhere warm today, but I can help you dream about it. And really, that could be written today, too. It's no different, right? We just want to help people get inspired to go different places around the world. So fast forward a little bit, I came up with the idea of, okay, let me think about it this way. How can I make it fun and easy? Which is a question I like to ask myself about anything that doesn't seem fun and easy. And so today I want to help it make it fun and easy for all of you. I established a process. I came up with a plan where I would spend an hour every Tuesday morning at 6 a.m. writing my newsletter. And then on Wednesdays, I would edit it and send it out. I came up with a framework, how I wanted to write it, so I didn't sit down to a blank piece of paper each week. And doing both of those things just made it a lot easier to just sit down and get it out there. And at first, I didn't do it every week. I did it every few weeks, but then I enjoyed it so much that I started doing it every week. And this is week 156 in a row that I have sent them out without missing a week. And I will say that sometimes I'm on safari in Africa. I was hiking the W Trek in Patagonia, and I still get the newsletters out. So I'm clearly committed at this point. So today the idea is how do you cultivate your ideal clients in 3 simple steps using newsletters? And one question I sometimes ask people, why don't you have a client newsletter? It's such a great source, for any industry. It's a great way to connect with your clients. And the 3 big reasons I hear back are, I don't have the time, I don't know where to begin, and I don't know what to write, which are the exact things that I was thinking back in the day when I was starting out. Today, we're going to talk about those excuses and get rid of all of them. This is a quote that I put in my notes on my phone. Unfortunately, I didn't attribute it to anyone, and I've tried to find out who said it, but I don't know. But it says, you can fight for attention with a social media algorithm that's not your friend, or you can use newsletters to grow your own list of people who care. And so I think that is a great example of newsletters, right? They get into your client's inbox. They're not up to Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, who sees what. So you get to have direct contact with your clients. And for me, my clients tend to be families, typically with teenagers, college kids, active travelers, people who want to go all over the world, experience cool things, explore new places. And when I'm writing my newsletter to them, that's what I'm talking about. So it's highly targeted to my ideal client. And one of the other things we'll talk about that in a minute. First, I want to say, so we're going to go through a variety of things in the next 10 or so minutes, and including why you should bother to write a newsletter, what are you going to write about, how you're going to find the time, who you're going to send it to, just to make it easy for you today to walk away and start your own newsletter. The first one is, why should I bother? Everybody's heard about the know, like, and trust factor, right? So KLT, you want people to know who you are, you want them to like you, and you want them to trust you. It makes it so much easier for them to buy from you. The hurdle to, pick up the phone and call you or send you an email for the 3rd time is a lot easier than the first time. And so the whole idea is that they're getting to know you through the newsletters that you're writing and the content that you're sharing. You're inspiring them with ideas, with your own travels, with your other clients' travels, with places you might want to go. And you're also demonstrating your unique knowledge and expertise. So I get asked lots of different questions, and one of the sections we'll talk about is a Q&A. I love to share my answers to a lot of questions that people ask. It shows my clients and my ideal clients who are reading the newsletter, what my knowledge base is and what my expertise is in a whole bunch of different areas. And the last one, which I added some fun sparkles to, is be original. we all subscribe to newsletters that could be written by one of 100 different people, right? They're not really injected with your personality. They don't have a lot of authenticity to them. They're very factual. And the whole idea behind writing an effective newsletter is being authentic and being you. And so that is what my goal is for you. I can think about back many years ago, maybe 8 or so years ago, I received a newsletter, and in that newsletter, it talked about the San Blas Islands. I had never heard of the San Blas Islands before, even though I speak Spanish, love Latin America. But the minute I read about them, I was like, I'm going. 9 months later, my kids and I were on a catamaran sailing around the San Blas Islands. And I think that shows the power of what we can do by sharing inspiring content with others. And as far as the trust factor goes, my clients can count on me to be in their mailbox every Wednesday morning. The timing is always a little bit off depending upon where I am in the world, but every Wednesday morning I'm in their inbox. And that really helps them, realize that, I show up when I say I'm going to show up. So if I'm in the bush, I'm still sending out my newsletter. And of course, if I'm in the bush or I'm in Patagonia or I'm in Italy, I'm telling them all about that to inspire them to want to go also. So the question, what should I write about? A lot of people might sit down with a blank piece of paper and have no idea and just get paralyzed. So I have a few suggestions on here. Destinations, that's an easy one. Where do your clients want to travel? Where have they traveled? What's on their bucket list? Where do you want to travel? I'm not sure if you're like me, but my ideal clients are a lot like me. They like the kind of things that I like. I love planning their trips because they're trips that I would take, if I was going on the trip. So what do you want to write about? It makes it so much more fun and engaging and authentic if you're really passionate about what you're writing about. What's your niche or what's your expertise? Is it in the luxury spectrum? Is it ultra luxe, wellness, culinary, cultural, active, honeymoons, all sorts of different places. You could also write about things like articles that you've read, travel books that you've read, either about, 100 places to see before you die, or something about going to Italy. Again, all about inspiring and informing our clients about fun places to go. Personality. Again, this is where you can inject a lot of personality. When I looked back just to see the different things that I've talked about in my newsletter, I was reminded my daughter was on a gap year last year. So I decided to make a section called Where in the World is Jessie? And so every time Jessie went somewhere new, she was all over Europe and then she was all over South America, I was sharing some of her experience. Now, she was backpacking, so she wasn't traveling perhaps and staying in the places that most of my clients stay at, but it doesn't mean that I couldn't have something inspiring to talk about in Machu Picchu or in Patagonia or in Buenos Aires. So it gave me a lot of great content. And again, people just got to know who I was as somebody outside of just the person planning their travel. Just last week, I highlighted a Porsche driving experience through Norway because I heard about it and I thought, okay, I'm all in. That sounds super fun. And so I shared that with my clients. I share boutiques in Milan or in Madrid, hikes, the Path of Gods when you're down in the Amalfi Coast. And my clients tend to like contrast like I do. So I share things like seafood shacks or floating taco bars, but I also share about Michelin star restaurants, live music, gelato, lots of different things. I love doing frequently asked questions. I don't do it that much because I just need more time, but some of the Q&As I've included before that people have asked me, how much does it cost to go on a safari? When is the ideal time to visit New Zealand and Australia in the same trip? And so that might not be a question that any of those people have ever had, but it might be, or it might just inspire them to want to go somewhere. And again, demonstrate the authority and expertise that you have to your clients. Okay, who should I send it to? The easy place to start is with your existing and your past clients. You must have their emails, put them on the list. There are rules in place about people opting in, so you do need to ask permission. So just keep that in the back of your mind. But in general, if they're your clients, they're probably going to want to be on your email list. Also, you could post to social media and include a link to sign up. You can include it in an email to your friends, neighbors, and your community to see who wants to get added to it. You can add it to your email footer, or you're out of office. Every time I write a newsletter, at the bottom, it says, do you enjoy these newsletters? If so, please share with a friend who also might like them and encourage them to sign up. People, love to share cool stuff with other people. So I highly suggest doing those. And then how to choose a platform. This is somewhere that's easy to get analysis paralysis, and I decided to make it easy. MailChimp is free. Constant Contact has a monthly fee. I started with MailChimp. I moved over to Constant Contact. It has more bells and whistles. It looks nicer, but really you can choose between those two. There are other ones you can pay for, Aweber, ActiveCampaign, but I personally know and like both of these. So if you want an easy one, just pick one of those. And then where do I begin such an overwhelming task? This is really those three key things. Calendar your time, set the same day and time each week. Again, I suggest that you set time to write it and then a separate time to edit it. That's just good writing skills. It's just a good writing tip to have, because if you edit while you write, it just takes you longer. And then second, pick a platform, easy one. And then third, choose a frequency and a framework. I would say start slow. Once a month is a great way to start. As far as a framework goes, you'll see in a minute a QR code that you can scan and go to my website, and it'll give you an idea for how to come up with your own framework. And a few tips I wanted to share. Rather than sitting down and thinking, okay, what am I going to write about each week? Collect content every day as you see it that's interesting to you. So on a Google Doc or a note. And don't just share information. That's not very exciting. Be enticing, be inspiring, be authentic, tell stories. The whole idea is injecting your personality into this newsletter so that your clients and ideal clients get to know you. You can also set up Google Alerts, with the word honeymoon. So anytime an article comes out about a honeymoon, you'll get an alert. And then Amy Porterfield has a podcast. You might have listened to it. She has many episodes that talk about newsletters. And so I also am including that in the link that I'll share in a minute. And why should I bother? Again, this is just saying some of the same things. Really demonstrate your authority and expertise to your clients in a way that is comfortable for you and you're sort of driving the bus. It's what you want to talk about. It also makes it really easy for clients to refer you to their friends. They're not just giving your name, they're forwarding your newsletter. It might be that someone reads your newsletter and you talk about a restaurant in Rome, and their friend's going to Rome next week. And so they forward it to their friend and they say, oh, look, here's a great restaurant you should consider for your trip. Now that person knows about you, and they might have never brought it up to them if they didn't have that little connection point. And then I like this one, good karma. When you share goodness into the world, goodness comes back to you. So I think if you are creating this newsletter, it's not to sell things, it's just to inspire people, right? It's Content Marketing 101. Just put lots of great information out there, and then goodness will come back to you. And then the next couple, these are some quotes that I've received from people, or emails I've received from people who have been on my newsletter. I've had people who have gotten my newsletter for over a year, and then they finally one day are inspired to write me and say, we're planning a trip to Africa, or we're planning a trip to Italy next summer. I'd love for you to help us with it. And so I'm not getting on a normal sales call with them and explaining to them who I am and what I do. They already know who I am and what I do. So the conversion factor is so much higher when somebody already knows you. These are some beautiful cows that we saw in the Dolomites last year when we were hiking. And again, just another really nice example of somebody who appreciates the content that I'm putting out there because they're clearly one of my ideal clients. This is just a little screen grab of one of my newsletters. And I love this quote from Dr. Seuss: why fit in when you were born to stand out? Like I said, the whole idea is that you want to be you. You want to be different than me because you're trying to find the people who are your ideal people. I do think it's super helpful to think about newsletters that you've received before that you might have liked. I think of an example like James Clear. He has a newsletter where it has 3 ideas from me, 2 quotes from others, and 1 question for you. So maybe you don't do that exactly, but you could do 3 trips I'm planning this month, 2 articles I read and loved, and 1 client testimonial. So you can leverage other people's newsletters that you like, if they're short, if they're long, lots of pictures and all that good stuff. And here's the QR code. This is just going to bring you to my website, which is truvatravel.com/HAR, same place. And on there is a downloadable PDF that will help you brainstorm different ideas for a framework, make a commitment as to when you're going to actually write the newsletter and edit the newsletter and send it out, and some other good links to some of Amy Porterfield's podcasts to give you some other resources to go to. And if kind of to summarize it all, writing newsletters is easy and fun. I never thought I was a writer. In fact, I would have said I am not a writer. And here I am 156 newsletters later. I guess I'm now a writer. And it's fun. It's a great way to connect with your clients. It's a great way to inspire people to go places that you want to plan travel to. And you can do it simply by calendaring your time, picking a platform, and choosing a frequency and framework. And I would say that next year, if you send out one every month for the next year, send me an email, let me know. We'll celebrate your success together, because really all it is just sort of starting. Send out one and maybe you end up getting addicted to it like I did.
Well, thank you so much, Mimi. That was great tips. Here at HAR, we do a monthly newsletter on the full moon. So if you're not signed up for that, make sure you are. But the newsletter is one of the ways that a lot of people come to the site. It's not the top way, but it's a huge way to get traffic to your website, to get your name out there. So I think I'm glad there's a lot of people tuning into this because a newsletter can be incredibly effective.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So if you have questions for Mimi in the comments, please share them. I see we have one from Jennifer. Do you promote restaurants or a day tour which you haven't seen yourself, or just the ones you know?
100%. I share things that I haven't been to, but they're coming from a good source, right? It might come from, I'm planning a trip right now to Switzerland, and I have a particular place in mind that I'm going to send my clients or recommend that they go to for dinner. And so something like that, I might share. Usually it's just something that's coming across my desk for one reason or another. So I might read an article in Condé Nast. I might get a referral from a friend or a client who just went on a trip who comes back and says, we had the most amazing meal, or we went on the most amazing hike. So it comes from all over, but it's definitely not only places that I've personally been to.
Perfect. And we have another one coming in from Susan. Do you have a certain length that you find is best? Your example was beautiful, but longer than I usually write.
My newsletters tend to be way too long, 100%. I love to share information. And so sometimes I just can't help myself. So I would say shorter is better. And that's why I think having a simple framework of an introduction, maybe, something that's interesting to you, could be a restaurant, could be a hotel. You could share a client testimonial. You could share some articles, make it quick and easy to read. Breaking it up into sections is also helpful. I do have a little section at the top that says, this is what's included this week. So if people aren't interested in the highlight I'm sharing, they can skip to the bottom and just look at all the articles that I curated. That helps too.
That's perfect. There's a comment from Extra Or that says, you're inspiring ideas. I just started preparing my YouTube channel, but now you've inspired me for possibly a small newsletter to start out. And
they're both great things to do. It's just hard. There's too many fun things to do. So yeah, good for you. Do both.
Yes. And I would definitely, even if you, again, don't think you're going to be doing a newsletter, still have a newsletter sign up, because at some point in time, you will likely start a newsletter, and it is nice to have the thousands of people or hundreds of people on your newsletter list already.
Absolutely. It is fun. I highly recommend it. And I will say sometimes during the week, I'm like, this is one of my favorite parts of the week.
Yeah. And so one more question from Susan here. Do you include links to other sites in your newsletters?
100%. Yes. And it's, I think there is the ability to it's in the newsletter. So it would open up like in Safari or something. So yes. So if I'm talking about the Four Seasons Punta Mita, the link is in there. If I'm talking about a certain restaurant, it's in there. Sometimes the Instagram is in there. Sometimes I include articles. I curate a bunch of articles from reading Condé Nast, Wall Street Journal, New York Times, Wanderlust. And all of those are links to their websites.
Perfect. Well, I think that's all we've got. There's a lot of love for you in the comments about how inspiring and helpful it was. So thank you so much for coming on, Mimi.
Thank you, Steph. It was so nice to meet you. I appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely. Well, there we have it. Another day of Host Week under our belts. If you liked it, go ahead and give it a thumbs up on YouTube. Give the video a like or subscribe to our channel. And before we hang up the close sign for the day, a note to stick around until the end because we have cute office mascot photos for you. And if you haven't heard the South High What a Wonderful World song we play at the end of the day, that's a great way to decompress and reset back into real life again. All right, so what do we have in store for you tomorrow? Lots of new things. Friday throws things up a little bit. So first of all, we have the big party, the one you don't want to miss, and that is our annual Luminary Awards ceremony. And it is going to be a ton of fun to recognize the best of the best in the industry. And following our tradition, you'll also hear from the HAR team our answer to the fun question. So which game would we be and why? We had some fun ones today when we were having our tech meltdown on what our game would be. And tomorrow we also have our weekly Friday 15 podcast that we always hold at 12 p.m. Central Time on Friday. And we are weaving it into Host Week this year. So check that out if you haven't before. And then tomorrow's coffee spot starts out at 11 a.m. Central Time with Uniglobe Travel Center. Remember that to click on the link in your email that will go out in the morning, and that will register for you for the coffee cards. And then we have Mary Beth Lynn is going to be doing our one thing, and it's going to be the one thing to know about growing your business while working less. And after the Friday 15, we have our keynote from Christine Karst with Alma Waterways, which is super exciting, and she'll be very inspirational. If you've never heard her speak, she's just full of energy and lots of good stuff. So then we move into, like I said, our consortia and host segments, and that is going to be virtuoso filled. The consortia is virtuoso, and then for the hosts, we have Fora, Gifted Travel Network, Montecito Village Travel, Pickles Travel Network, Uniglobe Travel Center, and Departure Lounge. We'll do the Luminary Awards, and then for our EDUSPOTS, we're going to go out with a bang. Jen Lee from Travel Planners International, who, if you've never seen her speak, is also very animated and very fun. She's going to be talking about curating a loyal fan base, how to create those meaningful connections that make people book travel with you. And then Aubrey Jackson is going to be doing storytelling to sell. She used to be a news reporter and is now using Reels or TikTok, I can't remember which social media platform, but to sell travel, but doing it in a way kind of more like a news focus. And then we have DeAndrea Matthews doing shifting identities, making travel more accessible. And by accessible, this could mean physical limitations. It could mean if they perhaps are on the autism spectrum. There's a lot of different things about accessible if you have someone with limited mobility. So make sure to tune into that, because no matter what your niche is, you are going to run into clients that are going to need to have some physical limitations or something within their group that they're traveling with where they will need extra help with things. And it's great to know that ahead of time. So as always, the HAR team is here if you have questions or if things aren't making sense to you and you need a little clarification. You can drop us a line at hello@Host Agency Reviews. And then we are going to move into our photos and our music segment, which I also asked Juan if we could put in a little picture of his little 3-month-old Joaquin and have a cameo, because I recognize that he is not a pet. That's not what I'm saying. But every morning we get to start our day with a cute little picture of Joaquin in our Slack feed, and we want to share that cuteness with you. So from all of us here at Host Agency Reviews, both on the screen and off, thank you again for joining us, and we will see you tomorrow at 11 a.m. Central Time for Uniglobe's Coffee Spot, or 11:55 for our One Thing with Mary Beth Lynn. Hi, I'm looking at cute puppies.
see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed day and the dark sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands